President Institutional Equities at Ambit Capital now joins in. Gaurav, hi. Thanks very much for joining in this afternoon. First, what are the downsides according to you for the markets, and what are the triggers that will likely take the market down?
So, I mean, clearly, if you were to look at what's happening in the country currently, even before this entire sort of, drama around China unfolded, we were grappling with our own domestic issues. So, rural recovery is completely down in terms. There's no sign of recovery in rural demand. Real estate is, after several years of helping significantly to capital formation in the country, to job creation in the country, real estate is a sector which is now completely in doldrums. And on top of that, private sector capex isn't just reviving. We put all of those together, clearly, it doesn't give you a very bright picture on the economic outlook going forward. Add to that the fact, that China eventually is sort of falling on yuan devaluation, and we think that this is just the beginning of a series of devaluations, and you might see a lot more devaluation coming in from China. That will create stress in sectors like steel, etc., which in turn will feed into the overall stress that banking sector overall has anyways been struggling with. So to top on to powers power and infrastructure bad assets, you will have real estate contributing thanks to the slowdown. You will have steel contributing thanks to the China factor. So all of that put together, points to a relatively grim picture in terms of economic recovery in FY17. And as a consequence, it looks very unlikely that Sensex earnings will revive any meaningfully in FY16. So in spite of which, we are building in something like a 9% earnings growth over the last year, which in turn would mean that FY16 Sensex EPS is likely to be somewhere around 1550. Now, the last 10-year average on Sensex multiples in terms of trailing earnings has been somewhere closer to 18x. So putting 18x on 1550 gives you a 28,000 as the fair value of Sensex. But because of all the various factors that I just pointed out, along with the fact that China continues to be a big risk factor, a global risk-off is a very likely scenario, and you already seem to be in the midst of that. Now, the last time when such a crisis happened was in 2008-9, and during that period, Sensex traded as low as 10-11 times in terms of trailing earnings. And during that period of risk-off, the average PE multiple was somewhere closer to 14-15. So if you were to put a 14-15 multiple to 1550 FY16 Sensex earnings, you will end up with a scenario of 20 to 23,000 on the Sensex. So this is why we are saying that in the light of increased risks, you are likely to see somewhere, you can see somewhere closer to 20 to 23 on the Sensex. But on a 12-month basis, I think the fair value for the Sensex should be somewhere closer to 28,000.
Gaurav, hi, morning. You track a lot of this FII data and FNO data as well. We've seen quite a bit of selling from FIIs in the cash market and even in the FNO market. What is this indicating? Are we close to a selling exhaustion, or is this an indication or a precursor to a bit of a capitulation?
So, if you were to take cues from sort of alternative markets like the derivative segment, clearly till about 4 weeks ago, there were excessive longs in the system. What's happened thanks to the selling pressure that you've seen over the last 2 weeks especially, that most of those longs are now out of the system. So in that sense, the excessive longs have given way to close to zero positions. But overall, you still haven't seen a lot of shorts come into the system. Now, historically, if you were to look at these outstanding positions and take a contra view that maybe pessimism is at a peak today and you should buy, I think those points of high pessimism have typically been when there has been huge short build-up in the derivative segment. That short build-up today doesn't exist. So all that you've seen over the last 2 weeks is unwinding of longs to close to zero levels, but you still haven't seen fresh shorts come through. And from that point of view, this really might not be a good indication of whether a pessimistic extreme has been reached, a selling climax has already happened, and hence whether you've already bottomed out. So it doesn't give you that picture as yet.
Okay. Would you say, Gaurav, that we are in the middle of a cyclical bear market and not just a bull market correction?
So, anywhere closer to 24,000 on the Sensex would suggest somewhere closer to 22% correction from the March 2015 highs. And you have seen, so for example, if you look at the 2002 to 2007 bull market in India, you had several intermittent corrections. You had in fact daily moves of 10% down moves in each of those 3-4 years of bull market. And you had several phases where the market corrected by as much as 20-25%. So in that sense, a 20-22% correction, does that necessarily mean that you've started a new bear market and the structural uptrend is broken? I don't think so. So I think you can have a 20-22% correction, erase excesses in a bull market, erase the froth in a bull market, and then continue with an uptrend. So from that point of view, and in addition, if you look at what's happening, to the inflation, to the global sort of commodity markets and all of that, would suggest that there will be some tailwinds from a forward-looking point of view for the country. And hence, rather than thinking of it being a bull market or a bear market, I think you've got to stick to price points. And from that point of view, we think that at somewhere closer to 23,000-24,000 on the Sensex, somewhere closer to 7,200 on the Nifty, you do see some value emerge for the frontline indices. And from that point of view, I think if you do see levels closer to that, which we believe you will, I think those should be good buying opportunities. And for the retail investor, I think the important point to remember is that it's times like these, when there is panic, when there are sort of fire sales happening in several good quality stocks, you create a long-term portfolio. So rather than worrying too much about whether this is a bull market correction or a bear market or the beginning of a bear market, we would think that a level closer to 23-24 on Sensex, a level closer to 7,200 on the Nifty would be a great point to buy in these markets from a longer term standpoint.
All right, let's talk about that bargain sale then, or the fire sale that you spoke about in individual names. And one of the names that you like is IndusInd Bank. Now, we've seen quite a bit of correction in the entire private sector banking lot. Why IndusInd Bank in particular?
Right. So, if you look at private sector banks in general, in the entire banking and financial services space, those are the only sort of pockets where people had relative comfort with regards to forward-looking growth prospects, as well as some sense on asset quality. And as a result, that was the only pocket which was sort of a default play on the Indian recovery. And hence, most of these private sector banks were relatively well owned, not just by domestic institutions, but also by foreign institutions. Now, as a result, when you had foreign outflow from Indian markets, clearly these liquid, well-owned names were the first ones to see the selling front. So, I don't per se, obviously, each private sector bank has its own dynamics at play and a very different asset quality mix, and which is why, they are very differently exposed to the stress sectors of infra, power, steel and real estate. But I think in IndusInd's case in particular, we don't think that it is as exposed to those stress sectors, has a healthy mix in terms of vehicle financing, especially commercial vehicles. And overall, if you look at the macro story, I think that's one pocket overall, commercial vehicle sales, which is showing some signs of pickup. And as a result, that has also translated in good growth for IndusInd Bank in the CV and vehicle financing segment of its order book. So that's a bank which we think is relatively well diversified in terms of its asset mix, has relatively lesser exposure to the stressed sectors, has exposure to sectors which are benefiting so far as a result of whatever little recovery that you're seeing in the country. So I think this price correction predominantly is on account of over ownership, and as a result provides a good opportunity for the long-term investor to get in. So levels closer to 820, 830 on IndusInd Bank we think are excellent levels for long-term investors to get in.
Okay, and in the pharma space, you're singling out Lupin. Any reason for that?
Pharma overall in the market correction hasn't participated quite a lot. So from that point of view, Lupin might not look like a stock which is on fire sale as several others are. But if you look at if you look at a longer term picture on that company in particular, this is one stock where there is a very strong pipelines of ANDA approvals. And based on our assessment of the GDUFA approvals that have come through so far, the company looks likely on track to receive several approvals and hence go through an aggressive product launch over the next 2 years. So, so for example, in FY16 in FY16 till date, they've already received something like 17 product approvals, which compares with the management guidance of something like 15-20 approvals for the entire year. So clearly, this increased pace of product approvals will keep Lupin supported in terms of more product launches and hence better revenue and earnings CAGRs. On top of that, we think the recent Gavis acquisitions in the US is a very good acquisition in the sense that it provides good diversification and complementarity to the existing product profile. So all of that, from a forward-looking point of view, will continue to add to the earnings trajectory of this company. So, for Lupin, we think something like a 30% earnings growth over the next 3 years looks very likely, even if FY16 were to be subdued. And as a result, in spite of the stock having not corrected significantly so far, at something like 21-22 times FY17 earnings, given the return ratios, given the earnings profile, we think is an attractive stock nonetheless.
All right, Gaurav, we leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and talking to us. So that's the Ambit view that on a 12-month basis, the fair value for the Sensex stands at 28,000, but in the near term, we could see pressure. Time for a break. But did the CSO make us look poorer? We'll tell you.